Is it live or is it Memorex? I think in this case we'll be able to tell the difference. Still sealed in its original blister pack packaging, it's the Memorex MR2300 AM/FM stereo cassette player with extra bass boost from 1994. Memorex was and is primarily known as a brand of recordable media, floppy disks, audio cassettes, video cassettes, CDs, and DVDs, with probably the best known slogan in the industry.
Reproduction so true we ask, is it live or is it Memorex?
But in the 1980s, Memorex was acquired by Radio Shack, who wanted to take advantage of the company's brand recognition as a way to sell brand name video products in Radio Shack stores, which had previously only sold products under the Tandy Corporation's own house brands like Realistic, and also as a way to sell Memorex audio products which were manufactured for and distributed by the Tandy Corporation in other non-Radio Shack stores. Memorex mentions this in their company history, saying the musical legacy of the Memorex brand made for a natural extension into other consumer electronics product categories aside from recordable media. So some people are acting as if it's a conspiracy for Maxell to take advantage of their brand recognition to fool people into buying a cassette player even though it wasn't actually made by them, when Memorex was doing the same thing over 30 years ago. They even purposely gave the packaging the same colors and stripes as their blank audio cassettes. You could get the Memorex MR2300 personal AM/FM stereo cassette player at Oasis Music and Video stores for $24.99. Or if you didn't need the radio tuner, you could get the even cheaper cassette-only Memorex MR1400 for $14.99. It features XBB, extra bass boost, and auto stop, and includes a pair of Sonic Light stereo headphones, the foam ear pads of which are starting to disintegrate into little particles trapped inside the packaging. Luckily, 2 AA batteries were not included, so we don't need to worry about old leaky batteries, which have caused the destruction of many Walkman-type cassette players. I have no interest in the headphones it comes with, so I'm just going to try to cut it open from the top and fish out the cassette player while leaving the rest behind. So I should be able to do that. Come on. Hopefully it's not stuck on something. I think I'm getting it out. There it goes. And might as well get the instruction manual while I'm at it. So there it is, the Memorex MR.2300 automatic stop. There's the radio tuning dial with the control for the tuning on the top there. Also on the top is the power switch. The off position doubles as the tape player mode. Headphone jack, AM/FM switch, and an FM stereo indicator. On the side we get the volume control, which is a slider, unusually. Stop, fast forward, and play buttons. No rewind. But you do get the extra bass boost on-off switch. And does it have a power input jack? It does not look like it does. So this is batteries only for the 2 AA batteries in there. Has a pre-installed belt clip. I don't know if that's removable or not. And I think that's the hole for adjusting the speed of the cassette player. And just like we saw on the packaging, inside the battery compartment is a date code of 4A4, meaning April 1994. And nothing really interesting in the owner's manual. For such a simple device, it hardly even needs instructions, and no specifications are provided either. But it does say copyright 1992, so that's when this model was introduced. Okay, first testing out the radio with a pair of powered speakers.
Conway the Machine, I see you, my brother. It's Hot 97, Funk Flex, let's go.
Definitely is working. It's picking up Hot 97. Let's try that Mega Bass, or whatever it's called, extra bass boost. That definitely makes a difference. the Spanish station.
Imagina encantar a todos con tu apariencia nueva, por la que pagaste.
And my favorite, the smooth jazz station. So FM is definitely working. Let's try AM. Picking up a lot of noise.
Wake up with Curtis Lewa and Larry Menti in the morning, 6 till 10 weekdays. I'm Jonathan O'Halloran on 710 WOR.
AM is actually okay if you're not connecting it to powered speakers. So through headphones or non-powered speakers, it's fine. Let's try the cassette player. Looking inside the door, it's a very basic mechanism, but it is playing. Fast forward works too. So it should work. Let's try putting in a tape. This may look like a window through which you can see the tape inside, but it's not. It's just solid plastic. So here goes. Seems to be working. Try that bass boost. Definitely works. You only get fast forward. Alright, let me get something more melodic to listen to. How about harp music recorded in the temples of Egypt on chrome tape with Dolby B noise reduction, neither of which this supports. Definitely can hear some motor buzz in there. It's a higher pitch when you're fast forwarding. Okay, it's getting louder now. So that was just a very, very quiet portion of the music. But you can still kind of notice that buzz in the background. So the harp music from Egypt didn't turn out so good, so let's try guitar music from northern Minnesota.
Heart softly pounding, only if she was lying by me.
Sounds okay.
Then I'd lie in my bed once again.
Still can hear a little bit of flutter in that audio, so of course the belt in this is over 30 years old, so that could be part of the flutter we're hearing, but I'm sure it was never that good to begin with.
That rainbow in the sky, but none of
After unscrewing it, the back comes off easily, but the hole I initially thought was for adjusting the motor speed is actually for adjusting the alignment of the radio tuner. So don't mess with that unless you know what you're doing. The actual motor speed adjustment is over here. There's a little trimmer right next to the motor. And yes, this belt is definitely a bit on the loose side, but it does have a metal flywheel, so that's nice. And no clue who made this for Memorex, but I noticed the plastic molding of the case says Avatar 1 on it. So that's interesting. You can see where the original belt went egg-shaped from being kept in the same position for so long, so I found a new belt of the correct size and installed it. Now I'm going to test the speed, wow and flutter, and azimuth. When I test the speed accuracy in wow and flutter, both meters are pegged, so that's not good. I did notice it was playing a bit fast even with the old belt installed, but I didn't think it was that far off. To adjust the speed, it's best to use a non-conductive tool made of plastic or ceramic, because I discovered if you use a metal screwdriver, that throws off the adjustment. Okay, I got the speed adjusted correctly, but that wow and flutter is still miserable. I'm sure you can hear it. And if I increase the meter range to 1%, it's coming in around 0.6% WRMS. That's terrible. There is a hole in the door positioned in line with the azimuth adjustment, but it's so small in comparison to the size of the screw you need to adjust that it's useless. This is the screwdriver I usually use for adjusting azimuth, and there's no hope of that fitting in that hole. At least they got the azimuth kind of correct, although it's not very stable. Given its very low price when new, I didn't expect the Memorex MR2300 AM/FM stereo cassette player to be very good, and indeed, it's not even remotely good. To be fair, this Sanyo MGR701, which was sold for around the same price and around the same time and uses the same cassette mechanism as the Memorex, performs a lot better, so maybe they're not all this bad. The Sanyo is playing about 1.5% fast and the wound flutters around 0.2 to 0.25% WRMS, which is a lot closer to what I would expect from a cheap Walkman type player. But surprisingly, despite how bad the wow and flutter is on the Memorex when it's just sitting still, it doesn't actually get a lot worse if you're going to take it out jogging. Now you may have seen some people shake a cassette player like a paint mixer, and of course the sound is going to wobble if you pull a stunt like that, even on a Sony Walkman with an anti-rolling system. Cassette players just weren't designed to be shaken like this. Any cassette player is going to have wobbly sound when you do that, but if you're just walking or jogging, it's fine. But given a choice between the Memorex cassette player from the 90s or the new Mexel cassette player, I definitely prefer the Mexel. It sounds a lot better, there's no annoying motor buzz in the audio, the speed was a lot closer to being correct even before I tweaked it to be perfect. It has plenty of bass even without an extra bass boost switch. The wow and flutter is low enough that I don't really hear it, and the azimuth is a lot more stable. And last but not least, it actually has rewind. So when people say they don't make them like they used to, sometimes that's a good thing.